I didn't believe in fate until the night I heard them plotting his murder. The dinner rush at Luciano's had finally slowed to a hum, just a handful of tables left. The kind of wealthy patrons who lingered over espresso and dessert like they owned the place. Maybe they did. In this part of the city, money talked, and the rest of us just listened. I was clearing glassware from the bar when I heard it, a low murmur in Italian, coming from the corner booth near the kitchen doors. My grandmother's voice echoed in my memory, all those childhood summers in Tuscany, teaching me the language she'd carried across the ocean like a precious stone. Domani sera, quando esce dal ristorante. Tomorrow night, when he leaves the restaurant. My hands stilled on the tray. The two men in the booth wore expensive suits, their faces angular and hard in the amber light. One had a scar tracing his jawline. The other kept glancing toward the private dining room at the back, the one we were never supposed to enter. Sarà semplice, Scarface continued, his voice casual, like he was discussing the weather. Nessuno lo vedrà arrivare. It will be simple. No one will see it coming. The glass in my hand suddenly felt too heavy. I set it down carefully, my pulse beginning to race. They were talking about killing someone. Here, tomorrow night. Dante? The other man asked, reaching for his wine. Lui non sospetta nulla? And Dante? He suspects nothing? Dante. The name hung in the air like smoke. I'd heard it whispered by the kitchen staff, seen it on the reservation list for the private room that was always booked on Thursday nights. Dante Moretti, the man who owned half the city's real estate and, if the rumors were true, controlled the other half through less legal means. The Mafia Boss. Lui è troppo occupato a costruire il suo impero, Scarface said with a cold laugh. Non vedrà il tradimento finché non sarà troppo tardi. He's too busy building his empire. He won't see the betrayal until it's too late. My breath caught. I needed to move, to walk away, to pretend I understood nothing. But my feet had grown roots into the floorboards. That's when the door to the private dining room opened. He stepped out like darkness given form, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a black suit that probably cost more than my yearly rent. His dark hair was perfectly styled, his jaw sharp enough to cut glass, but it was his eyes that stopped me cold. Even from across the room, they were intense, calculating, the kind of eyes that saw everything and forgot nothing. Dante Moretti. He moved with the quiet confidence of a man who'd never had to raise his voice to be obeyed. Two men flanked him, bodyguards, clearly, but he was the sun they orbited around. Power radiated from him like heat. Our eyes met. It lasted only a second, maybe less, but I felt it like a physical touch, a spark of recognition, curiosity, something I couldn't name. His gaze held mine, dark and searching, before one of his men said something, and his attention shifted. I exhaled shakily and forced myself to turn back to the bar, my heart hammering against my ribs. When I dared glance at the corner booth again, the two conspirators had gone silent, their faces carefully neutral as they watched Dante leave through the front entrance. The moment the door closed behind him, they resumed their conversation in hushed Italian. Domani, Scarface confirmed. Quando esce, lo colpiamo. Tomorrow. When he leaves, we strike. I gripped the edge of the bar, my mind racing. This wasn't my business. This wasn't my world. I was a college student working my way through a degree in literature, serving overpriced pasta to people who barely looked at me. Getting involved with mafia business was a death sentence. But if I said nothing, a man would die. A ruthless man, probably. A criminal, certainly. Someone who'd likely done terrible things to climb to the top of whatever empire he'd built. Yet when his eyes had met mine, I'd seen something beneath the hard exterior, a flicker of loneliness, maybe, or weariness, something human. Mia, you okay? I jumped. Marco, the head chef, was watching me with concern, his white apron stained with tomato sauce. Fine, I managed, forcing a smile. Just tired. He nodded, already turning back to the kitchen. Lock up when you're done, yeah? I'm heading out. Sure. The two men in the corner booth left 20 minutes later, dropping cash on the table without waiting for change. I watched them go, memorizing their faces, though I couldn't say why. When I finally finished my closing duties and stepped into the cool October night, the street was nearly empty. Streetlights cast pools of gold on the wet pavement. It had rained while I was inside, and the city smelled like asphalt and possibility. I was halfway to the subway when I felt it, that prickling sensation of being watched. I turned, my pulse spiking, and saw him. Dante Moretti stood beneath, a streetlight half a block away, his hands in his pockets, watching me with that same intense gaze. He hadn't left. He'd been waiting. For me? No, that was impossible. But he started walking toward me, his footsteps echoing in the empty street, and every instinct screamed at me to run. Instead, I stood frozen, caught in the gravity of his approach like a moth drawn to flame. He stopped 3 feet away, close enough that I could see the flecks of gold in his dark eyes, smell the subtle cologne that clung to his skin. "You understand Italian," he said. It wasn't a question. My mouth went dry. I saw your face when those men were talking." His voice was low, controlled, dangerous. You understood every word. My heart was a wild thing in my chest. Lying seemed pointless. Yes. Something shifted in his expression: interest, calculation, perhaps approval. "Then you know what they're planning." I nodded, unable to look away from him. He stepped closer, and I caught my breath. This close. He was overwhelming, tall, powerful, with an intensity that made the air between us feel charged with electricity. "Tell me," he commanded softly. "What did you hear?" And in that moment, with his dark eyes burning into mine and the weight of his attention making me feel more alive than I'd felt in years, I made the choice that would change everything. I told him. He listened without interrupting, his expression unreadable as I recounted every word I'd heard. The street around us felt like a stage set, empty and waiting, with only the distant hum of traffic to remind me we weren't completely alone. When I finished, silence stretched between us like a living thing. "You're certain of what you heard?" Dante finally asked, his voice carefully neutral. "Yes." My voice came out steadier than I felt. "They said tomorrow night, when you leave the restaurant. They mentioned someone named Marco Valente," he finished, his jaw tightening almost imperceptibly. "The one with the scar. You know him?" A bitter smile touched his lips. "He's my cousin, or was, until tonight." The weight of that simple statement hung in the air. Family. Betrayal. The oldest story in the world, given new teeth. "I'm sorry," I said, though I wasn't sure what I was apologizing for. He studied me for a long moment, his dark eyes searching my face like he was trying to solve a puzzle. "What's your name?" "Mia. Mia Chen. Mia." He said it slowly, tasting the syllables. "You speak Italian, but your name is Chinese." My mother's side. I wrapped my arms around myself, suddenly aware of the October chill. "My grandmother taught me. She was from Florence." "And you work at Luciano's." "I'm a student. The job pays tuition." Another silence, this one heavier than the last. I could see him thinking, calculating, weighing options I couldn't begin to guess at. This close, I noticed details I'd missed before: a small scar above his left eyebrow, the way his hands were completely still at his sides, the expensive watch glinting on his wrist. Everything about him screamed control, except for that intensity in his eyes that made me feel like I was standing too close to a fire. "You should go home," he said finally. "Forget what you heard. Forget this conversation." Relief and disappointment warred in my chest. "Okay." I turned to leave, but his voice stopped me. "Mia," I looked back. He'd stepped closer, near enough now that I could feel the heat radiating from him. "Why did you tell me?" he asked quietly. "You could have stayed silent. Safer that way." The question caught me off guard. Why had I? Fear of guilt? Some misplaced sense of justice? Or was it that moment when our eyes met in the restaurant? When something in his gaze had made him feel real to me? Human. Worth saving? "I don't know," I admitted. "It felt like the right thing to do." He laughed, a short, sharp sound without much humor. "The right thing. In my world, morality is a luxury most people can't afford. Then maybe your world needs better people in it." The words left my mouth before I could stop them. Bold and naive and probably suicidal. I waited for anger, for the mask to slip and show me the ruthless man everyone whispered about. Instead, something softened in his expression, just for a heartbeat. So quick I might have imagined it. "Perhaps it does," he murmured. He reached into his jacket, and I tensed, half expecting a weapon. But he pulled out a card, simple, expensive, with just a phone number embossed in silver. "If you remember anything else," he said, pressing it into my palm, "or if anyone comes asking questions about tonight, you call me. Immediately." The card felt heavy in my hand. "I won't remember anything else. I told you everything." Nevertheless, his fingers brushed mine as he pulled away, and I felt that spark again, electric and unsettling. Marco is unpredictable when cornered. If he suspects you overheard, he didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. I'll be careful, I promised, pocketing the card. Good. He stepped back, and just like that, the distance between us felt like miles instead of feet. The businessman mask slipped back into place, smooth and impenetrable. My driver will take you home. That's not necessary. It wasn't a request. A black car pulled up to the curb as if summoned by thought alone. The driver, a stern-faced man in his 50s, got out and opened the back door without a word. I hesitated, every warning bell in my head ringing. Getting into a car with the Mafia, even just the driver, seemed like crossing a line I couldn't uncross. But Dante was already walking away, his phone to his ear. His attention shifted to whatever crisis management his betrayal required. He moved like a king through his domain. Confident and absolute, the driver cleared his throat politely. Fine, I muttered, sliding into the back seat. The leather was butter soft, the interior immaculate. As we pulled away from the curb, I caught one last glimpse of Dante through the tinted window. He stood beneath the streetlight, watching my departure, his expression unreadable. Then we turned a corner, and he disappeared. The driver was silent during the 20-minute ride to my apartment in Brooklyn. When we arrived, he got out and opened my door with the same professional courtesy. "Miss Chen," he said as I stepped onto the sidewalk. "A word of advice, if I may." I waited. Mr. Moretti doesn't let many people close. Those who get there. He paused, choosing his words carefully. They either become invaluable, or they become liabilities. There's rarely an in-between. My pulse quickened. I'm not trying to get close to anyone. No, he agreed, a hint of something sympathy, perhaps in his weathered face. But sometimes fate doesn't ask permission. He got back in the car and drove away, leaving me standing on the empty street with those words echoing in my head. I climbed the 3 flights to my apartment, locked the door behind me, and pulled out the card Dante had given me. Just a phone number, elegant and simple. I should throw it away, forget tonight ever happened, go back to my normal life of classes and coffee and books. Instead, I tucked it into my wallet, next to my student ID, and tried to ignore the fact that my hands were shaking. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Dante's face, the intensity of his gaze, the way he'd listened to me with complete focus, like I was the only person in the world. And beneath it all, that flicker of something vulnerable I'd glimpsed before his walls slammed back into place. By morning, I'd convinced myself it was over. I'd done my good deed, delivered my warning. Whatever happened next was his world, not mine. Then I walked into Luciano's for my Thursday evening shift, and found a white rose on the hostess stand with my name on it. Secret admirer? Gianna? The hostess waggled her eyebrows as she tied her apron. Spill. My fingers trembled as I picked up the small card attached to the stem. The handwriting was bold, masculine, efficient. "Thank you for your honesty. D." That was all. No explanation, no context, just those 6 words and a single initial. "Well?" Gianna pressed. "Just someone I helped yesterday." I managed, tucking the card into my pocket before she could see it. "It's nothing." But it didn't feel like nothing. It felt like a door I'd thought was closed had just cracked open again. The shift passed in a blur of orders and small talk. I kept glancing at the private dining room, half expecting Dante to appear, but it remained empty. The corner booth where his cousin had plotted his murder sat vacant all night. I was wiping down tables near closing when Marco, the head chef, emerged from the kitchen looking pale. "Did you hear?" he asked, his voice low. My stomach dropped. "Hear what?" "Marco Valente. They found him this morning in the harbor. Apparent suicide jumped. Off the pier, they're saying." He shook his head. "Always knew that family was cursed." The dish towel in my hand felt too heavy. "Suicide? That's the official story." Marco's eyes met mine, knowing. "But in this neighborhood, we all know what suicide really means." He walked away, leaving me frozen by the table. Dante had acted fast, ruthlessly. His own cousin, eliminated before he could strike. The rose in my apron pocket suddenly felt less like a thank you and more like a reminder. This was the world I'd stepped into, where betrayal was answered with death, where mercy was a weakness, where a white flower could carry the scent of blood beneath its perfume. I should have been horrified. Instead, a traitorous part of me whispered, "He protected himself. You helped him survive." "Mia," I spun around. One of Dante's bodyguards, the one who'd been with him last night, stood by the door. Up close, he was enormous, his suit barely containing the muscle beneath. "Mr. Moretti requests your presence," he said, his voice surprisingly gentle for someone so intimidating. "If you're willing." Every rational thought screamed at me to refuse, to run, to call the police. Though what would I even report? A suspicious rose? A dead man the news was calling a suicide? Where? I heard myself ask. His home. My car is outside. This was insane. Going to a mafia boss's house, alone, after his cousin had just turned up dead. Every crime documentary I'd ever watched flashed through my mind. But beneath the fear was something else. Curiosity, attraction. The magnetic pull of a mystery I couldn't quite solve. "Give me 5 minutes," I said. The drive took us out of the city and into the hills overlooking the water. The houses grew larger, more isolated, hidden behind gates and walls. When we finally stopped, it was in front of a mansion that looked like it belonged in a European postcard. Stone and glass and elegant lines, with gardens that probably required a full-time staff. The bodyguard led me through the front entrance and into a world I'd only seen in movies. Marble floors, artwork that belonged in museums, a sweeping staircase that curved upward like something from a fairy tale. "This way, Miss Chen." We walked through corridors lined with dark wood and soft lighting until we reached a set of double doors. The bodyguard knocked once, then opened them. "Miss Mia Chen, sir." "Thank you, Vincent." The room beyond was a study, walls lined with books, a fireplace crackling with warmth, leather furniture that looked expensive enough to pay off my student loans. And standing by the window, silhouetted against the city lights below, was Dante. He'd changed from last night's suit into something more casual, dark slacks and a white shirt with the sleeves rolled up, revealing forearms corded with muscle. His hair was slightly mussed, like he'd been running his hands through it. He looked human, less like the untouchable mafia boss, and more like a man at the end of a very long day. "Mia." He turned as Vincent closed the doors behind me, leaving us alone. "Thank you for coming." Did I have a choice? A ghost of a smile touched his lips. "Always. I don't force women to visit me. Just your enemies to jump off piers?" The words came out sharper than I intended, fueled by nerves and confusion and the reality of what I'd become complicit in. Dante's expression didn't change, but something shifted in his eyes. Acknowledgement, perhaps, or respect. "Marco made his choice when he decided to betray his family," he said quietly. "I simply accelerated the consequences. That's one way to put murder. Is it murder to cut out a cancer before it spreads?" He moved closer, each step measured and deliberate. "He would have killed me, Mia. And then he would have moved on to my brother, my business partners, anyone who stood in his way. Men like Marco don't stop at one betrayal." I wanted to argue, to cling to the moral high ground. But standing here, in this room that smelled of leather and smoke and something indefinably him, the lines felt blurrier than they should. "Why am I here?" I asked instead. He stopped a few feet away, close enough that I could see the exhaustion around his eyes, the weight he carried like armor. "Because," he said softly, "I wanted to thank you properly, and because..." He trailed off, his jaw tightening like he was wrestling with words he didn't want to say. "Because," I prompted. His dark eyes met mine, and in them I saw conflict, desire, and something that looked dangerously like longing. "Because I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since last night." The confession hung between us like a dare. And God help me, I felt the same way. The silence after his words felt like standing at the edge of a cliff. "You don't know me?" I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "No," Dante agreed, "but I want to." He moved to a bar cart near the window, poured 2 glasses of amber liquid whiskey, by the pala, smell, and offered one to me. I took it, grateful for something to do with my hands. "I've spent my entire life surrounded by people who want something from me," he continued, his gaze distant. "Power, money, protection, favors. Everyone has an angle, a strategy, a way to position themselves for maximum advantage." He took a sip of his drink, and I watched the way his throat moved, hating myself for noticing. "But you," he said, turning back to me, You gained nothing by warning me. In fact, you risked everything. You could have been killed for what you overheard. Yet you told me anyway. Maybe I'm just stupid, I offered weakly. Maybe, that ghost of a smile again. Or maybe you're the rarest thing in my world, someone genuine. The word landed like a stone in water, rippling outward through all my defenses. I wanted to dismiss it, to laugh it off, but the way he was looking at me made it impossible. This is crazy, I said instead. You're you, and I'm a woman who speaks 3 languages, works 2 jobs to pay for college, and has the courage to confront a stranger about murder. He set his glass down. Don't diminish yourself, Mia. I've met presidents with less spine than you showed last night. Heat crept up my neck. Flattery seems beneath you. It's not flattery if it's true. He was closer now, though I hadn't seen him move. The air between us felt charged, dangerous, like the moment before lightning strikes. Why did you bring me here? I asked again, needing to understand. Really? Dante was quiet for a long moment, his dark eyes searching mine. When he finally spoke, his voice was rough, unguarded in a way that made my chest tight. Because for the first time in 10 years, I met someone who looked at me and saw a man worth saving. The vulnerability in those words stole my breath. Everyone else sees the empire, he continued. The power, the money, the violence. They see Dante Moretti, the king of the Underworld. But you, he reached up, slowly, giving me time to pull away, and brushed a strand of hair from my face. You saw someone worth warning, someone whose life mattered. His fingers lingered against my cheek, and I should have stepped back, should have remembered all the reasons this was dangerous, impossible, wrong. Instead, I leaned into his touch. I should go, I whispered, even as my body betrayed me by staying exactly where I was. Yes, he agreed. But neither of us moved. The fire crackled. The city glittered below us. And in that study, surrounded by leather and books and the scent of expensive whiskey, something shifted between us. A recognition, a understanding, a connection I couldn't name but felt in my bones. I'm not a good man, Mia, Dante said quietly, his thumb tracing my jawline. I've done things that would horrify you. I live in darkness, and everyone who gets close to me eventually gets burned. Then why tell me this? Because you deserve to know what you're walking into if you stay. If you stay. The choice hung between us, clear and terrifying. I thought about my life safe, predictable, small. Classes and coffee shops and dreams of becoming a professor someday. A good life. A normal life. The kind of life where men like Dante Moretti existed only in movies and news reports. Then I thought about how I'd felt last night when his eyes met mine. How I'd felt an hour ago when I found his rose. How I felt right now, with his hand against my face and his gaze burning into mine like I was the only thing in the world that mattered. Alive. I felt alive. One question, I said. Anything. If I walk away right now, will you let me go? No consequences, no following, just back to my normal life? Something flickered across his face, disappointment, maybe, or resignation. Yes, he said, and I knew he meant it. Vincent will take you home. You'll never hear from me again. I believed him. Dante Moretti might be a lot of things, but I somehow knew he wasn't a liar. Not about this. And if I stay? The words left my mouth before I could stop them. His eyes darkened with an intensity that made my pulse race. Then everything changes. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. His hand dropped from my face, but he didn't step back. I don't know what this is between us, Mia. I only know that I haven't felt this pull toward anyone in longer than I can remember, and I'm selfish enough to want to explore it, even knowing I shouldn't. Honesty. Raw, unfiltered honesty from a man who probably dealt in lies and shadows every day. It should have scared me. Instead, it made me want to know more, to peel back the layers of Dante Moretti and find the person underneath the reputation. I have class tomorrow, I said finally, and a shift at the restaurant. I'll make sure you're there, he promised. And after, we see where this goes. Slowly. On your terms. He stepped back, giving me space to breathe. I won't rush you, Mia. I won't push. But I also won't pretend I don't want to spend every moment I can in your presence. God, the way he spoke formal, old-fashioned, like words were things to be weighed and measured. It should have felt awkward. Instead, it felt like being seen, truly seen, by someone who understood the weight of language. "This is insane," I said, for what felt like the 100th time. "Probably," he agreed. "You're dangerous." "Definitely. I don't even like you." The lie tasted bitter on my tongue. His smile was slow, knowing, devastatingly attractive. Liar. And there it was, that spark between us, undeniable and terrifying and intoxicating. I took a deep breath, feeling like I was standing at a crossroads where both paths led into unknown territory. "1 week," I said. "Let me see your world for 1 week. Then I decide if I stay or go." Dante's eyes flashed with something: triumph, relief, hunger, but his voice remained controlled. 1 week, he agreed. "Starting now." He held out his hand. I took it, and felt the earth shift beneath my feet. The week that followed existed in a strange kind of dream. Dante kept his word about my schedule. Vincent picked me up for class, waited patiently outside the library during my study sessions, then drove me to the restaurant for my shifts. The first day, I felt ridiculous, like a child playing dress-up in someone else's life. By the third day, I'd stopped protesting. But the nights were different. After work, instead of taking the subway home, Vincent would drive me back to Dante's mansion. Sometimes we'd have dinner, elaborate meals prepared by his private chef, served at a table that could seat 20 but held only 2. Other times, we'd sit in his study, me curled up on the leather couch with a book while he worked at his desk, handling the empire I tried not to think too hard about. It should have been boring. Instead, it was the most comfortable I'd felt in years. "You're staring," Dante said without looking up, from the contract he was reviewing. I smiled, caught. "Sorry, don't be." He set his pen down and leaned back in his chair, finally meeting my eyes. "I like it when you look at me." Heat crept up my neck. 5 days in, and he could still make me blush with a single sentence. "Tell me something," I said, deflecting. "How did you end up in this life?" It was the first truly personal question I'd dared to ask. We'd talked about books, about my classes, about his opinions on city politics and art, and a dozen other safe topics. But never about this, the empire, the violence, the darkness he'd warned me about. Dante was quiet for a long moment, his expression unreadable. I thought he might deflect, change the subject, remind me that some doors stayed closed. Instead, he stood and walked to the window, hands in his pockets, shoulders tight. "My father," he said finally, his voice low, "built this empire from nothing. He was brilliant, ruthless, and utterly without mercy. I watched him destroy lives without hesitation, all for the sake of power and money." He paused, and I waited, barely breathing. "When I was 18, he gave me a choice: join the family business and learn to be strong, or leave and be considered dead to him. I chose to stay." His jaw tightened. "Not because I wanted the power, because my younger brother was only 12, and someone needed to protect him from our father's world." The pain in his voice was raw, real, human. "So I learned," he continued, "how to be hard, how to make the difficult choices, how to carry the weight of an empire on my shoulders and never let anyone see me stumble." "And your father?" I asked gently. "Dead. Heart attack 5 years ago." No emotion in his voice, just fact. I took over everything, and I swore I'd do it differently, smarter, less blood when possible, more strategy, but still blood, I said quietly. "Yes." He turned to face me, and the honesty in his eyes made my chest ache. "Still blood. This world doesn't allow for clean hands, Mia." The moment I took over, every rival, every ambitious lieutenant, every two-bit gangster saw an opportunity. I had to prove myself, over and over, that I was stronger than my father, more ruthless, more willing to do whatever it took to protect what was mine. "And your brother?" A real smile touched his lips, soft and genuine. "Leo, he's in law school now, at Columbia, wants to be a prosecutor, of all things." He shook his head. "I made sure he stayed far away from this life. He's good, Mia. Pure. Everything I'm not." The way he said it, like his brother's goodness was a precious thing he'd fought to preserve, broke something open in my chest. I stood and crossed to him, drawn by instinct rather than thought. When I reached the window, I placed my hand on his arm. "You protected him," I said softly. "You sacrificed your own path to keep him safe. That's not nothing, Dante." He looked down at my hand on his arm like it was a foreign object, something he couldn't quite understand. Then, slowly, he covered it with his own. "You see the best in people," he murmured, "even when they don't deserve it. Maybe I just see the truth." His thumb traced circles on my wrist, and I felt that touch everywhere, my pulse, my breath, the flutter low in my stomach that I'd been trying to ignore all week. Mia. My name was a prayer and a warning all at once. "If you keep looking at me like that, I'm going to do something we might both regret." "Like what?" The question came out breathier than I intended, and I saw the exact moment his control cracked. He turned to face me fully, one hand coming up to cup my face while the other settled at my waist, pulling me closer. We were inches apart now, and I could see every detail, the gold flecks in his dark eyes, the faint stubble on his jaw, the way his breath quickened to match mine. "Like this," he whispered, and then he kissed me. It wasn't gentle. It was fire and hunger and weeks of tension finally breaking free. His mouth claimed mine with an intensity that stole my breath, demanding and giving all at once. I gasped against his lips, and he took advantage, deepening the kiss until I forgot where I ended, and he began. My hands found his shirt, fisting in the fabric, pulling him closer. He made a sound low in his throat, possessive and pleased, and backed me against the bookshelf, his body pressing against mine in a way that made every nerve ending sing. "God, Mia," he breathed against my mouth, his forehead resting against mine. "You're going to destroy me." "Good," I whispered back, surprised by my own boldness. He laughed a real laugh, full of genuine pleasure, and kissed me again, slower this time but no less intense. We might have stayed there forever, lost in each other, if Vincent's voice hadn't crackled through the intercom. "Sir, we have a situation." Dante tensed, pulling back just enough to meet my eyes. The heat was still there, burning between Waitress, us, but reality was crashing back in. "What kind of situation?" he asked, his voice rougher than usual. "The Rossi family. They're here." Every muscle in Dante's body went rigid. He stepped back, his expression shifting from the man who'd just kissed me breathless to the Mafia Boss who commanded an empire. "Stay here," he ordered, already moving toward the door. "Dante, please, Mia." He stopped, looked back at me with eyes full of conflict. "Just stay here. I need to know you're safe." Then he was gone, leaving me alone in the study with swollen lips and a racing heart, and the terrible certainty that the week I'd asked for was about to become much more complicated. I waited in the study for 10 agonizing minutes before curiosity and concern won out over obedience. Moving quietly, I slipped into the hallway. Voices drifted up from downstairs, tense and sharp. I crept to the top of the staircase, staying in the shadows, and peered down into the foyer below. Dante stood, facing 3 men in expensive suits, Vincent and 2 other guards flanking him. But it was the man in the center who commanded attention, older, gray-haired, with cold eyes and a smile like a knife edge. "Dante," the man said, his voice smooth as silk. "You've been avoiding my calls." "I've been busy, Roberto." "Too busy for family?" Roberto Rossi, I recognized the name from whispered conversations at the restaurant, spread his hands in mock hurt. "Your father and I were like brothers. I would have thought his son would show more respect to old alliances." "Old alliances," Dante said coolly, "died with my father. We both know that." "Perhaps." Roberto's smile didn't reach his eyes. "But new alliances can be forged, especially when they're mutually beneficial. What do you want?" "Direct. I like that." Roberto pulled out a folder from inside his jacket and held it out. "I'm proposing a merger. Your territory and connections in the city, my shipping operations and international reach. Together, we could control the entire eastern seaboard." Dante didn't take the folder. "I'm not interested in partnerships." "No?" Roberto's expression hardened. "Then perhaps you'll be interested in what I know about Marco Valente's death. Such a tragedy, that suicide. I'm sure the authorities would be fascinated to learn the truth." The threat hung in the air like poison. "Careful, Roberto," Dante said softly, and even from the stairs I could hear the danger in his voice. "Threats don't become you." "Not a threat. A reminder." Roberto finally lowered the folder. "You're powerful, Dante, but you're not invincible. You have weaknesses, vulnerabilities." His eyes flicked upward, and my heart stopped as I realized he was looking directly at where I hid in the shadows. "Precious things that can be taken away." Ice flooded my veins. "If you touch her," Dante said, his voice dropping to something lethal, "there won't be a hole deep enough for you to hide in." Roberto laughed. So protective. How sweet. But you misunderstand me. I'm simply pointing out that a man with something to lose has more reason to cooperate. He straightened his tie. Think about my offer, Dante. You have 1 week to decide. After that. He shrugged. Well, accidents happen to those who refuse good business. He turned and left, his men following. The moment the door closed behind them, Dante's composure cracked. He slammed his fist into the wall, the sound echoing through the mansion. Sir, Vincent started. Find out everything, Dante commanded, his voice tight with barely controlled fury. Where he's staying, who he's working with, every move he makes. I want eyes on him 24/7. Already on it. Dante ran both hands through his hair, and in that moment, he looked exhausted, weary, like the weight of his world was crushing him from the inside out. I must have made a sound, because suddenly his eyes snapped up to where I stood on the stairs. I told you to stay in the study, he said. But there was no heat in it. Only resignation. I'm not good at following orders, I replied, descending the stairs on shaky legs. When I reached the foyer, Vincent and the other guards quietly disappeared, giving us space. Dante watched me approach, his expression guarded. How much did you hear? He asked. Enough. I stopped a few feet away, suddenly uncertain. He threatened me. Because of you. Yes, you should have told me. What? Dante's voice sharpened. That getting close to me puts a target on your back? I did tell you, Mia. I warned you from the beginning that everyone around me gets burned. You didn't tell me there were people actively watching us, people who would use me as leverage, because I thought I could protect you. He stepped closer, frustration and fear warring in his eyes. I thought if I kept you close, kept you safe here, you'd be fine. But Roberto. He shook his head. He's more connected than I realized. More desperate. Then, let me go. The words hurt to say. End this. Send me home. I'll disappear. No, the word was absolute. It's too late for that. You've been seen with me, Mia. You're in my house, under my protection. Sending you away now would only make you more vulnerable. So I'm trapped. You're safe. He reached for me, then stopped, his hand falling back to his side. There's a difference. Was there? Standing in this beautiful mansion that suddenly felt like a gilded cage. I wasn't sure anymore. I need to think, I said quietly. Alone. Something flickered across his face. Hurt, maybe, or understanding. Vincent will show you to a guest room. You can stay the night. In the morning, we'll figure out what comes next. He turned to leave, and I should have let him go. Should have used the space to sort through the mess of emotions tangling in my chest. Instead, I reached out and caught his hand. He froze. I'm not running, I said softly. I'm scared, and I'm angry, and I'm completely out of my depth. But I'm not running. Dante turned back slowly, his eyes searching mine. You should be. Roberto Rossi has destroyed men stronger than me. He won't hesitate to hurt you if it serves his purposes. Then we'll deal with him. Together. Together. He said the word, like it was foreign to him, like he couldn't quite believe I meant it. Mia, you don't understand what you're committing to. Maybe not. I stepped closer, until we were inches apart. But I understand that whatever this is between us, it's real. And I'm not going to let some old gangster with delusions of power destroy it before we even figure out what it could be. His free hand came up to cup my face, and the tenderness in the gesture made my chest ache. You're either the bravest woman I've ever met, he murmured, or the most foolish. Can't I be both? He smiled a real smile, soft and vulnerable. Yes, you can be both. Then he kissed me, gentle this time, like I was something precious, something worth protecting. And despite everything, the threats, the danger, the impossible situation we'd stumbled into, I kissed him back. Because somehow, against all logic and reason, this broken, dangerous man had become mine, and I had become his. 3 days later, Roberto Rossi's patience ran out. I was leaving class, my mind only half on the lecture about Renaissance poetry I'd just endured, when I noticed the car. Black sedan, tinted windows, idling across the street in a no-parking zone. Not Vincent's car, not any of Dante's fleet. My skin prickled with awareness. I pulled out my phone, scrolling to Dante's number, when someone stepped up beside me. Miss Chen. The voice was smooth, professional. Mr. Rossi would like a word. The man was young, maybe 30, with styled hair and a suit that cost more than my tuition. He smiled like we were old friends, but his eyes were empty. "I'm late for work," I said, fighting to keep my voice steady. "It will only take a moment. Please." He gestured toward the sedan. "I'd hate for this to become complicated." The implicit threat was clear. I could go willingly, or I could be made to go. And on this busy campus street, surrounded by students, making a scene felt more dangerous than complying. I got in the car. The drive was short, just 15 minutes, through downtown to a restaurant I didn't recognize. Upscale, expensive, the kind of place that required reservations weeks in advance. The young man led me through the main dining room to a private section in the back, where Roberto Rossi sat alone at a table set for two. "Mia Chen." He stood as I approached, all old-world charm. "Thank you for joining me. Please sit." I remained standing. "What do you want? Direct, like your boyfriend." Roberto's smile was indulgent. "I appreciate that. Sit, please. Let's talk like civilized people." The young man who'd collected me moved behind my chair, a silent reminder that refusal wasn't an option. I sat. Roberto poured wine into 2 glasses, sliding one toward me. "Do you know why I asked to speak with you? To threaten me, use me against Dante." "Threaten?" He looked genuinely affronted. "My dear, I have no desire to harm you. Quite the opposite. I'm here to save you." I nearly laughed. "Save me from a life of violence and danger." He leaned forward, his expression earnest. "Dante is a good man, I don't dispute that. But his world has no place for someone like you. You're a student, yes? Studying literature, working toward a better future. What happens when that future collides with Dante's reality? That's not your concern." "But it is," Roberto sipped his wine. "Because I knew Dante's father. I watched that man destroy everyone he claimed to love in service to his empire. And Dante. He's more like his father than he wants to admit." "You don't know him, don't I?" Roberto's eyes glittered. "Did he tell you about Elena?" My stomach dropped. "Who?" "Elena Marchetti. Beautiful woman. Brilliant. Actually, she was a journalist, investigating organized crime. She and Dante fell in love, or so she thought, until she discovered who he really was and what he'd done. She threatened to expose him." He paused, letting the words sink in. "She disappeared 6 months later. They never found her body." My blood went cold. "You're lying." "Am I?" "Ask him, Mia. Ask Dante what happened to Elena Marchetti." Roberto leaned back, satisfied. "Or better yet, ask yourself if you want to risk becoming another loose end when the relationship inevitably sours." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I'm offering you a way out." He pulled a business card from his pocket and slid it across the table. "When you're ready to leave, and you will be ready, eventually you call this number. I'll make sure you disappear safely. New identity, new life, far from here. All you have to do is walk away." I stared at the card like it was a snake. "Think about it," Roberto said, standing. "Because the clock is ticking. And when Dante and I go to war, there will be casualties. I'd hate for you to be one of them." He left, taking his young bodyguard with him, leaving me alone in the private dining room with a glass of wine I couldn't drink, and a name that echoed in my head like a death knell: Elena Marchetti. Vincent found me 20 minutes later, his face pale with relief and fury. "Miss Chen, thank God. Mr. Moretti has been—" "Take me to him," I interrupted. The drive back to Dante's mansion passed in silence. My mind churned with Roberto's words, trying to separate manipulation from truth. Dante had been honest with me about his world, about the violence and darkness. But Elena, had he been honest about everything? Dante was pacing in his study when I arrived, his phone to his ear, barking orders in Italian. When he saw me, he ended the call mid-sentence. "Mia." He crossed to me in 3 strides, his hands framing my face, checking for injuries. "Are you hurt? Did he touch you?" "I'm fine." I pulled back from his touch. "We need to talk." Something in my voice made him freeze. "What did Roberto say to you? Who's Elena Marchetti?" The color drained from Dante's face. "Mia, just answer the question." My voice cracked despite my best efforts. "Who was she?" Dante turned away, his shoulders rigid. When he spoke, his voice was hollow. "She was my fiancé, 4 years ago." The word hit me like a physical blow. Fiancé. Roberto said she was a journalist, that she discovered what you were and threatened to expose you, and then she disappeared. That's not what happened. Dante's hands clenched into fists. Elena knew who I was from the beginning. She accepted it, or so I thought. We were planning a wedding, building a life together. So what happened? He turned back to face me, and the pain in his eyes was raw, devastating. She was murdered, shot outside her apartment 3 weeks before our wedding. His voice broke. By a rival family who wanted to hurt me, to show me that I wasn't as powerful as I thought, that they could take away anyone I loved. Oh, Dante. I hunted them down, every single one involved. I made them pay in ways that still wake me up at night. But it didn't bring her back. He took a shaky breath, so I swore I'd never let myself care about someone again. Never give anyone that kind of leverage over me. Until me, I whispered. Until you. He crossed to me slowly, like I might bolt. And now I'm terrified, Mia, because Roberto knows. He knows that losing you would destroy me in ways even Elena's death didn't. And he'll use that knowledge however he can. I should have been angry at being used as a pawn. Should have been scared of the target on my back. Instead, I felt my heart break for the man standing in front of me, the one who'd loved and lost, who'd built walls so high he'd forgotten what it felt like to be vulnerable, until I'd climbed those walls and refused to leave. So what do we do? I asked. We? He looked at me like I'd offered him salvation. You're staying? Roberto gave me a card. Said he'd help me disappear. Start over somewhere safe. I pulled it from my pocket and held it up. Want to know what I did with it? I tore the card in half, then in half again. Let the pieces fall to the floor between us. I'm not running, I said firmly. We face this together. Dante pulled me into his arms, holding me so tightly I could barely breathe. You're going to get yourself killed, he murmured into my hair. Probably. I pulled back just enough to meet his eyes. But I'd rather die standing with you than live safe and alone. He kissed me then, desperate, claiming, full of fear and gratitude and something deeper that neither of us dared name yet. And somewhere in the city, Roberto Rossi smiled, knowing he'd set events in motion that would end in blood. The war came faster than anyone expected. 2 days after my meeting with Roberto, one of Dante's warehouses burned. 3 days after that, a trusted lieutenant was found dead, executed, mafia style, with a message carved into his chest. Choose wisely. The city held its breath, waiting for the explosion. I watched Dante transform before my eyes. The man who'd kissed me with such tenderness became someone harder, colder, unreachable. He barely slept, spending nights in his study coordinating responses, shoring up alliances, preparing for the war he'd tried to avoid. I became a ghost in his house, present but invisible, safe but forgotten. Until the night everything shattered. I was in the library, trying to focus on homework that felt absurdly normal given the circumstances, when raised voices echoed from the study. I recognized Dante's tone, sharp with anger. The other voice I didn't know. Can't protect everyone forever, Dante. You have to make a choice. I've made my choice. Mia stays. At what cost? The unknown voice rose in frustration. Roberto won't stop until he's destroyed everything you've built. Your men are getting nervous, questioning your judgment. Then they can leave. It's not that simple. Some are saying you've gone soft, that you're putting a woman ahead of the family. Silence. Heavy. Suffocating. Get out, Dante said quietly, dangerously. Footsteps, then the door opening and closing. I debated pretending I hadn't heard, going back to my reading. Instead, I set my book aside and went to the study. Dante stood at the window, his reflection ghost-like in the glass. He didn't turn when I entered. You heard, he said. Yes, and... I crossed to stand beside him, looking out at the dark gardens below. Is it true? Are your men losing faith? Some. He finally looked at me, and the exhaustion in his face made my chest ache. Roberto's targeting not just my businesses but my reputation, spreading rumors, sowing doubt. And the fact that I'm protecting you, a civilian with no ties to our world, gives weight to his claims that I've lost my edge. Then end it. The words felt like swallowing glass. Make a deal with Roberto. Give him what he wants. He wants you gone, Mia. Out of my life. Out of the picture. That's the price for peace. Then maybe... No. He turned to face me fully, his hands gripping my shoulders. I won't negotiate with your life. I won't trade your safety for my empire. I'd burn it all down first. But your men. My men follow my orders or they leave. That's how this works. His jaw tightened. I've sacrificed enough, Mia. I've given up pieces of my soul to build this empire. I won't give up you. The conviction in his voice should have been reassuring. Instead, it terrified me. What if I'm not worth it? I whispered. What if everything you've built falls apart because you chose me? Then it falls. He pulled me closer, his forehead resting against mine. An empire built on compromising the people I love isn't worth keeping. You love me? The question hung between us. Too big, too soon, too real. Dante's eyes met. Mine, dark and infinite and completely unguarded. Yes, he said simply. God help us both, but yes. My heart stumbled, raced, soared. I opened my mouth to respond, to tell him that somehow, impossibly, I felt the same. The window exploded. Glass shattered inward as gunfire erupted from the gardens. Dante threw himself over me, taking us both to the ground behind his desk as bullets tore through the study. I screamed, the sound drowned out by the roar of automatic weapons. Stay down, Dante shouted, shielding my body with his. More gunfire, closer now, shouts in Italian. The house alarm screaming, footsteps pounding through the halls. Then silence, heavy, ringing silence. Dante lifted his head cautiously, scanning the destroyed study. The window was gone completely, cold air rushing in. His bookshelves were riddled with bullet holes, papers scattered everywhere. Mia. His hands ran over me, checking for injuries. Are you hurt? I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. The world felt tilted, wrong, too sharp and bright, and terrifyingly real. Look at me. Dante cupped my face, forcing my eyes to his. Breathe, sweetheart. Just breathe. I sucked in air, tasting copper and fear. What? An attack. Roberto's making his move. His expression was grim as Vincent burst through the door, blood on his shirt. Sir, we've secured the perimeter. 4 shooters, all dead. But, he hesitated. There were civilians watching, neighbors. Police are on their way. Dante swore viciously in Italian. Get Mia out of here. Now. No. I found my voice, shaky but determined. I'm not leaving you. Mia, if the police find you here, I don't care. I grabbed his hand. You just said you wouldn't trade me for your empire. Don't ask me to abandon you now. Something flickered across his face, pride, love, fear all tangled together. You stubborn, impossible woman. You love me, I reminded him, using his own words as armor. Yes. He kissed me hard, quick, desperate. Which is why you need to go. If Roberto connects you to this attack, to the bodies, you'll become a target in ways I can't protect against. The law, Mia. He'll use the law to destroy you. Understanding crashed over me. Roberto wasn't just attacking Dante's empire, he was attacking me, specifically, making me a liability, a witness, someone who'd be dragged into legal proceedings that would expose Dante's entire operation. But please, Dante's eyes pleaded. Trust me. Vincent will take you somewhere safe. I'll handle this. And when it's over, he swallowed hard. When it's over, we'll figure out what comes next. Police sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. Vincent cleared his throat. Sir, we need to move. I wanted to argue, wanted to plant my feet and refuse to leave. But the fear in Dante's eyes, not for himself but for me, made the decision. Promise me, I said fiercely. Promise you'll survive this. I promise. He kissed me once more, pouring everything he couldn't say into that single moment. Go. Vincent's hand on my arm was gentle but insistent. I let him lead me out through the back corridors as more sirens converged on the mansion. The last thing I saw was Dante, standing in his destroyed study, blood on his shirt, looking every inch the ruthless mafia boss he'd tried to hide from me. And I realized with terrible clarity that loving him meant accepting all of him, the darkness, the violence, the impossible choices. If I survived this night, if he survived, if there was anything left of us when the war finally ended. Vincent took me to a safe house in Queens, a nondescript apartment above a bakery that smelled like cinnamon and lies. 2 guards stationed outside, 1 inside. Comfortable prison. I lasted 3 days before I broke. I need to see him, I told Vincent on the morning of the 4th day. He'd been stationed in the living room. Ever professional, ever present. At my words, he looked up from his phone with something like, sympathy. Miss Chen. Don't. I cut him off. Don't tell me it's too dangerous or that he's handling things. I've been docile and obedient and good for 3 days. Now I need to see him. Vincent studied me for a long moment, then sighed. He won't like it. I don't care. No, Vincent said with the ghost of a smile. I don't suppose you do. The drive back to Dante's mansion felt surreal. The gates were intact, the gardens pristine. Only the covered window on the second floor hinted at the violence that had erupted days before. Vincent led me inside, and I was struck by how normal everything looked. Staff moving through rooms, the smell of dinner cooking, classical music playing softly from hidden speakers, like the world hadn't tilted on its axis. He's in the study, Vincent said. I'll announce you. No. I was already moving toward the stairs. I've got this. The door to the study was closed. I knocked once, didn't wait for permission, and entered. Dante stood at his rebuilt window, bulletproof glass now. I noticed his back to me. He was on the phone, speaking rapid Italian, his tone clipped and dangerous. He must have sensed my presence because he cut off mid-sentence and turned. For a moment, we just stared at each other. He looked terrible, exhausted, with shadows under his eyes and tension in every line of his body. He'd shed his jacket and tie, his white shirt rolled up to reveal forearms marked with fresh bruises. I'll call you back, he said into the phone, never breaking eye contact with me. He ended the call. Mia, what are you doing here? I missed you. Something cracked in his expression. You shouldn't have come. Probably not. I closed the door behind me, but I'm tired of being safe and alone. I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of letting Roberto Rossi dictate how we live. Mia, no. I crossed to him, my heart pounding. You told me you loved me right before someone tried to kill us. Then you sent me away. I've spent 3 days in that apartment thinking, worrying, imagining every terrible scenario. And I realized something. What? His voice was rough. That I love you too. The words felt like jumping off a cliff. I love you. Dante Moretti. The Empire, the darkness, the impossible choices. I love all of it because it's you, and I'm done running from it. His eyes closed, and I saw him fighting for control. You shouldn't love me. Too late. I'll only hurt you. Everyone I love gets destroyed. Then I'll be destroyed. I stepped close enough to touch him, but I'll be destroyed on my own terms, standing beside you, not locked away in some apartment pretending I can go back to normal. There's no going back, he whispered. You know that, right? Once you commit to this to me, there's no safe exit. I know. Roberto won't stop. There will be more attacks, more danger. I know. You could die, Mia, because of me, because I was selfish enough to want you. I know. I reached up, cupping his face, forcing him to look at me. But I could also live, Dante. Really live. Not the half-life I had before, where every day was just going through motions. You make me feel alive. His control shattered. He pulled me against him, crushing his mouth to mine with a desperation that stole my breath. I kissed him back just as fiercely, pouring 3 days of fear and longing and love into the connection between us. I love you, he breathed against my lips. God, Mia, I love you so much it terrifies me. Show me. His eyes darkened with need and something deeper vulnerability. Trust, surrender. He kissed me again, slower this time but no less intense, as his hands found the hem of my shirt. Are you sure? Yes. I'd never been more certain of anything. What followed was a blur of skin and sensation, clothes discarded, hands exploring, breathless whispers of names and promises. Dante was reverent and demanding by turns, taking his time to learn every curve, every sound I made, every way to make me gasp. When he finally laid me on the leather couch, his body covering mine, I felt complete for the first time in my life. I'll protect you, he murmured against my throat. With everything I am, I'll keep you safe. I know. I pulled him down for another kiss. And I'll stand beside you, through everything. Everything, he agreed, and then words became unnecessary. We came together like a storm, fierce and inevitable and absolutely right. And in those moments of complete connection, the Empire didn't matter. The danger didn't matter. Nothing mattered except us, this moment, this choice we'd both made to leap into the unknown together. Afterwards, we lay tangled together on the couch, his hand tracing idle patterns on my bare shoulder. Roberto sent a message today, Dante said quietly. A final ultimatum. I tensed. What kind of ultimatum? A meeting. Tomorrow night. Just him and me. No guards. No weapons. One last chance to negotiate peace. It's a trap. Probably. His arm tightened around me. But I have to go. If there's even a chance of ending this without more bloodshed. Then I'm coming with you. Absolutely not. I sat up, meeting his eyes. You said we're partners now. That means I get a say. And I say we face Roberto together. Mia, it's too dangerous. Everything about us is dangerous. I leaned down, kissing him softly. But we're stronger together than apart. You know I'm right. He stared at me for a long moment, conflict warring in his expression. Finally, he sighed. You're going to be the death of me. Or your salvation. I smiled. Time will tell. He pulled me back down beside him, and we lay there in the gathering dusk, two people who'd chosen each other against all logic and reason. Tomorrow would bring whatever it brought. Tonight, we had each other. And for now, that was enough. The meeting place Roberto chose was fitting for a man obsessed with power. The ruins of an old cathedral on the edge of the city, abandoned for decades, with broken stained glass and an altar that had forgotten God's name. Dante and I arrived as the sun bled into the horizon, painting the ruins in shades of crimson and gold. Last chance to turn back, Dante said, his hand tight on mine. Not a chance. He smiled small, sad, proud. My fearless Mia. Your foolish Mia, I corrected. That too. We entered the cathedral through the main doors, our footsteps echoing on cracked stone. Roberto waited at the altar, alone as promised, wearing a dark suit and an expression of triumph. Dante. And the lovely Miss Chen. He spread his arms. I'm pleased you both came. Let's skip the pleasantries, Dante said coldly. What do you want? Respect. Roberto's smile faded. Your father understood that. He knew the old ways, the importance of hierarchy and tradition. But you, he shook his head. You think you can modernize our world, make it civilized. You think love makes you stronger. It does. No, Roberto's voice hardened. It makes you weak, vulnerable, distracted. Your father would be ashamed. My father, Dante said quietly, was a monster who destroyed everyone who loved him. If that's what it takes to earn respect in this world, then I don't want it. How noble. Roberto's tone dripped sarcasm. And yet here you are, facing exactly what he faced, a successor who refuses to honor the old ways. The families are watching, Dante, wondering if you're strong enough to lead, or if you need to be replaced. By you? If necessary. Roberto pulled something from his jacket, not a weapon, but a document. This is a transfer of your assets. Everything you control, signed over to me. In exchange, I'll let Miss Chen live. She can go back to her little life. Forget all this ever happened. My stomach dropped. And if I refuse? Dante asked. Then she dies. Tonight. Along with your brother, your key lieutenants, everyone you care about. Roberto's eyes glittered with malice. I'll burn your empire to ash and salt the earth so nothing ever grows there again. The silence was suffocating. I looked at Dante and saw the war in his eyes, duty versus love, empire versus heart. Every terrible choice his father had faced, every compromise and sacrifice hanging in the balance. Dante, I said softly. Don't. He turned to me, anguished. Mia, I meant what I said. We face this together. I stepped forward, addressing Roberto directly. You think threatening me will break him. That love is weakness. But you're wrong. Roberto laughed. Am I? Then watch. He raised his hand, and figures emerged from the shadows, men with guns. At least a dozen, surrounding us in a perfect circle. You're outgunned, outnumbered, and out of options, Roberto said. So I'll ask one final time. Sign the papers, Dante. Save her life. Dante looked at me, and in his eyes I saw love, regret, and terrible determination. I'm sorry, he whispered. Then he moved. It happened so fast, Dante. Lunging for the nearest gunman, disarming him with brutal efficiency. Gunfire erupted, deafening in the enclosed space. I screamed, diving behind a broken pew as chaos erupted. But Dante wasn't alone. Vincent and a dozen of Dante's men poured through side entrances, weapons drawn. They'd been waiting in the shadows, prepared for exactly this betrayal. The battle was brief and vicious. When the smoke cleared, Roberto's men lay dead or wounded, and Roberto himself was on his knees at the altar, blood streaming from a gash on his head. Dante stood over him, a gun in his hand, his expression cold as winter. "You made a mistake," Dante said quietly. "You assumed I came here unprepared, that I'd sacrifice everything for love. Then do it," Roberto spat. "Kill me. Prove you're just like your father." Dante's finger tightened on the trigger. "Don't," I said. Everyone turned to look at me. I stood shakily, my ears still ringing from the gunfire. "If you kill him like this," I continued, walking toward Dante, "you become what he says you are. You become your father. He tried to kill you, Mia. He threatened everyone I love. I know." I placed my hand over his, gently lowering the gun. "But you're better than this. Stronger. You can end this without more death." Dante stared at me, his jaw tight. For a moment, I thought he'd pull the trigger anyway. Then he lowered the weapon completely. "Vincent," he said, never taking his eyes off Roberto. "Call the FBI. Tell them we have evidence of Rossi's trafficking operations, his money laundering, everything. Let the law handle him." Roberto's face went white. "You wouldn't." "I just did." Dante stepped back, holstering his gun. "You wanted to destroy my empire, Roberto. Instead, you handed me yours." As Vincent made the call, I moved to Dante's side. He wrapped an arm around me, holding me close. "You saved me," he murmured, again. "That's what partners do." 3 months later, the restaurant was small, intimate, tucked, away in a neighborhood far from Dante's empire. We sat at a corner table, sharing pasta and wine and comfortable silence. Roberto Rossi was in federal custody, awaiting trial on 17 counts. Most of his organization had folded or been absorbed by other families. Dante's empire stood stronger than ever, but different, cleaner, with fewer shadows. "I have something for you," Dante said, pulling a small box from his jacket. My breath caught. "Dante, it's not what you think." He smiled. "Open it." Inside was a key on a simple chain. "To what?" "An apartment. In your name. Near campus." He reached across the table, taking my hand. "I know you need to finish school. I won't ask you to choose between your dreams and me. So this is my compromise, a place that's yours, separate from my world, where you can breathe." Tears pricked my eyes. "You're giving me an escape route. I'm giving you freedom." His thumb traced circles on my wrist. "I love you, Mia Chen. That means wanting you, to be happy, even if it means letting you go." "You're an idiot," I said, laughing through tears. "What?" "I don't want an escape route. I want you. All of you. The empire, the darkness, the impossible choices." I squeezed his hand. "We're partners, remember? That means I'm in this for the long haul." Something shifted in his expression, hope, love, wonder. "You're sure?" "More sure than I've ever been about anything." He stood, came around the table, and pulled me into his arms right there in the middle of the restaurant. And when he kissed me, I tasted promise and forever, and a love that had survived fire to become something unbreakable. "Marry me," he whispered against my lips. "Yes." No hesitation, no doubt. Just yes. Because some love stories start with danger and darkness, but ours ended with choice. The choice to stay, to fight, to build something beautiful from the ruins. And that made all the difference.